Alright, we got another video from one of a content creator that I've been watching for a long time. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't watched a video of his in a minute, but it's Quixer. So this one is called "Homeless Man Hilariously Makes a Living from Tourist Attraction," and this is going to be from his Tales from the Bottle series.
This is the Trevi Fountain in Rome, Italy. Built in the 18th century, it is one of the most famous fountains in the world, visited by thousands of tourists every day. Among the tourists, there exists a superstition that if one takes a coin in their right hand and throws it into the fountain over their left shoulder, they will be destined to return to the city sometime in the future. And a lot of people do seem to like Rome, so a lot of people throw a lot of coins into the Trevi Fountain, an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 euros a day. Now, if I told you there was a couple of grand just sitting in a shallow body of water that was easily accessible, you might realise that you could stand to make a decent chunk of change if you're willing to get your feet wet. Of course, neither you nor I are among the first to come to this conclusion. This is Roberto Churchialleta, the troll of the Trevi Fountain. Many articles detailing Roberto Churchialleta's exploits describe him as unemployed, homeless, and mentally unstable. I don't know if he's ever argued the last 2 points, but by his own account, he was a professional for decades. His profession? Collecting the coins from Trevi Fountain. Starting in 1968, Churchialleta would venture down to the fountain in the darkness of the early morning and start picking up the coins. His method for doing this varied throughout the years. He'd use a brush or a rake. A long magnet was particularly effective. He'd drag up coins from all over the world, mostly Europe, and any non-Italian coins he'd take to the foreign exchange. He did this 6 days a week for over 40 years.
Dang.
The world did eventually change in ways that compelled Churchialleta to alter his methods though. In the early 2000s, Europe started adopting a shared currency, the euro, which meant Churchialleta had less work converting currencies in the foreign exchange, which he alleged sometimes swindled him. The euro, however, presented its own problems for the fountain troll, as only the smallest coins are particularly magnetic, forcing Churchialleta to ditch the magnet and troll through the fountain, scraping up coins with his bare hands. Well, he wasn't forced, obviously, nobody put a gun to his head. Roberto Churchialleta took coins from the fountain because he wanted the coins. Simple, but this was a questionable activity for a couple of reasons. Firstly, well, just look at this fountain. It's a beautiful piece of history. Maybe people shouldn't just be waltzing all over it. The last time I was in a museum, I kept setting off alarms trying to get a closer look at the paintings because my big nose would trigger the motion detection security system. But they just let homeless people arse around in this fountain? They're not to. In 1999, a new Italian law protected the Trevi Fountain from people hopping into it, although it's down to the police to enforce this. It didn't stop Churchialleta, although he was caught by police numerous times and fined. He didn't pay the fines, and it was difficult for the authorities to follow up on them because he had no permanent address. There was another concern about what he was doing though. Like, what would happen to all that money if it weren't for people like Roberto Churchialleta taking it? The authorities obviously aren't relying on homeless people to empty out the fountain. The money is supposed to be gathered by city workers cleaning the monuments and donated to Caritas, an Italian charity. It's estimated the fountain can receive over 1 million euros annually, so if people are taking it, that's a significant sum that charity will not receive. And so, in 2002, when police...
How much of that money do you think charity actually receives?
He spotted Churchialleta hauling bags of coins from the fountain for the umpteenth fucking time, they decided to arrest him for theft. He tried to get away, unsuccessfully, and was also charged with resisting arrest. By this point, Roberto Churchialleta was 50 years old and had seemingly somehow had no change in fortune despite taking from the plentiful fountain almost every day for decades. In court, he explained that he really wasn't taking all that much from the fountain and that he would share his spoils with other needy people. He also defended his actions by stating that he knew he had no right to the money, but it had been his livelihood for 34 years. Churchialleta was cleared of theft, with the judge ruling that coins in the fountain had been discarded by their owners and therefore could not be stolen. And so he was soon back at it. He would be faced with further difficulty though. Roberto Churchialleta was, as you might imagine, not the only person plundering the Trevi Fountain. And while many had a level of compassion for the eccentric troubled man eking a living out of spare change from a fountain, it was discovered that there were organised operations dedicated to lifting money from the monument, seemingly with the tacit approval of certain police officers, and this outraged the public. With the increased scrutiny, authorities started to clamp down on people entering the fountain, including Churchialleta. In his eyes, they were preventing him from earning an honest living, bringing an end to his self-proclaimed profession of 30 years. This came to a head in 2011 when Churchilletta was stopped from entering the fountain and staged a protest. Taking off his top and producing a blade, he slashed himself across the stomach while clambering across the stonework, chased by police. He was soon apprehended. He'd actually done this exact same thing at least once before. The next time Roberto Churchilletta was in the news was 2013, when he died aged 62. Almost nothing about him was reported except his famous coin-stealing exploits, so the public only really knows him as that fountain guy. I suppose if your life is only going to be associated with one single thing, this beauty ain't a bad one. Today, access to the Trevi Fountain is more strictly controlled, with a maximum number of visitors allowed at any one time, and the implementation of a queuing system. They also automated the statue of Oceanus to detect coin thieves and smash their teeth out on the rocks.
Alright.
Probably. Anyway, that's all for this week. If you liked the video, why not?
I ain't gonna lie, they were stopping my man from making an honest living. He was making an honest living. Even the judge said that it's not stealing if you just decide to collect discarded coins. That's like if the police stop people or homeless people from picking up coins on the street. Now, it's not like this though, like where it's just like a conglomerate bunch of like coins scattered in one place and they're throwing it for a reason though, but they stopped my man from making an honest living.